Welcome to the Real Estate Pros Show, where we interview real estate investing professionals from coast to coast, as well as the service providers that serve the real estate investing industry. Our goal is simple: share what's working now to help you improve and scale your business to the next level and meet the pros that can help you get there. Real Estate Pros is powered by Investor Fuel, America's leader in helping real estate investors and professionals build the business you need to live the life you've always dreamed of. Let's start today's show. Property insurance for real estate investors doesn't have to be difficult, but it does need to be there to protect you when you need it. MyInvestorInsurance.com not only provides insurance at 15 to 30% cheaper than traditional agencies, it's built specifically for real estate investors like you. You can set up an account in about 2 minutes, get quotes on properties, turn on and turn off insurance for your fix and flip or rental properties in around 2 minutes without having to talk to anyone directly, all through our portal. There's no better way or faster way to make sure you've got the coverage you need to protect you, and no more lengthy policies either. Once you're set up, you're billed monthly and prorated by the day for however long your policy is active. It's powered by MSI, the third largest independent MGA, with 1.5 million customers and more than $1 billion in cumulative premiums written. Get set up today in about 2 minutes at myinvestorinsurance.com/fuel.
All right, guys. Hey, welcome back to the show. I'm your host, John Harcar. I'm here today with Eric Patterson, and what we're going to be talking about is building wealth outside of Wall Street. Guys, remember, at Investor Fuel, we help real estate investors, service providers, all real estate entrepreneurs 2 to 5x their business by providing tools and resources to build the business they want to build and live the life they want to live. So, Eric, welcome to our show.
Thank you. Glad to be here.
Yeah, man, I'm excited. I'm excited to talk about our topic today, building wealth outside of Wall Street. There's a lot of folks that aren't liking the market the way it's been going lately, and this would be a killer topic for them. But before we get into all that, get into the weeds, tell our audience about you. You know, where you came from, how you got here, how you got into real estate, etc.
Sure. So, like a lot of folks, I didn't just, when I was growing up, I didn't say I want to get into real estate. It kind of took a circuitous route. I kind of wanted to, look, my dad was in the military, so I followed his footsteps.
Thank you for your service.
Yep. Thank you. You're welcome. Went into the Air Force right out of college and thought maybe that was my path, do 30 years like he did and just, would hang it up at that point. But shortly after I got in, I read a little book called Rich Dad Poor Dad. Maybe you might have heard of it. So,
that little purple book. I talk about it every day at least once. Everybody's read it.
Changed everything. It's the reason why it's the number one personal finance book in the country. And so up until that point, I had never even exposed to passive income, real estate used in that manner, residual income, things like that. So needless to say, it threw me off completely. And I realized maybe this whole engineering in the military is not something I want to do long term. So I started moonlighting back in real estate back in 2005. I decided to jump out of the military full time and do reserves. And went into the real estate industry full time. Things were going well until they weren't. If you know your history, the Great Recession, the big real estate bubble bursted, and I found myself on my butt, right? And so I could have ran home, or I could just make it work. And so I dusted myself off and figured I'd get my master's and try to right some wrongs, right? 2010, I was getting my master's, going to become a certified financial planner. Mm-hmm. But I couldn't shake the fact that everything I was learning it wouldn't have kept me from becoming a statistic. After all, when I had lost some properties, when the bubble burst, I'd done everything by the book. If I do ABC, XYZ will happen. The bank gave me loans, only to have them call them due, but for no reason other than they were bad loans on the books.
Right.
So I was doing my part, the tenants were doing their part, and those properties got taken. And so it was a really, really rough time for me, rough time in my life. And particularly, I felt really bad for those tenants. By no fault of their own, I uprooted a family,
Yeah.
And so
it's tough.
It was. And so I had to figure out how can I vowed to be more in control next time around, and to not if I could help and put myself in that situation, I knew.
Stop living on an island and join the #1 mastermind in America for professional real estate investors. Investor Fuel is a community of hundreds of the nation's top investors working together to build stronger businesses and better lives. In addition to the amazing community of real estate investors acting as a board of advisors for one another, Investor Fuel members have access to 100% funding on purchase and repairs for our members only, a health insurance program, and benefits and discounts that more than pays for the membership of most of our members, meaning it's actually costing you money to not be a member of Investor Fuel. If you're looking to scale your business and build a business that allows you to live the life of your dreams, please visit investorfuel.com today and book a call with our team.
One thing Rich Dad Poor Dad taught me was that a lot of things aren't in the textbooks. And so I went searching online. That's when I stumbled across infinite banking, which was something else that, you think you've heard it all, you think you've seen it all, but you realize there's so much more out there, right? And so that floored me, especially the fact that I wasn't taught any of this in my curriculum of, that life insurance could potentially be a wealth building tool. Typically it was something, buy term, invest the rest. Everything that I learned in the program in my curriculum was about taking clients' money, me being the expert and controlling that money in the market. And whether the market went up or down or sideways, I got paid, right?
Yep.
So that didn't sit right with me. And so infinite banking came, the more I looked into it, the more I realized it allowed one to be in control, to be more self-reliant, to wean yourself off of the system. And so that's when I decided to go in, with everything I had into specialize in that area, and particularly working with landlords, because landlords, let's face it, as a real estate investor, we're one of the most litigated career fields out there, and most, litigious societies, in the world. And so we have a huge mark on our back. We have a huge bullseye on our back. And so being more in control, being able to protect it in a lot of ways is what infinite banking can provide. So,
okay. So let me just kind of recap this. You read Rich Dad Poor Dad, just like everybody that I talked to seems like, got the bug. You started investing. 2008 came around. Is that what you're talking about back then?
Mm-hmm.
You lost property.
Yep.
You gave it up, right? And then
Yep.
you went back to the corporate world, or went to go learn or study?
I gave it up, went back to go study, trying to be a traditional financial planner.
Got it.
Yeah.
And then you decided that, hey, this sucks, in a sense. And you decided that you wanted to kind of restart things up. So what were some of the bigger challenges that you might have faced, whether it was before that burst or after that, when you got back into it? What are some mistakes maybe you made? Those type of things.
So one of the mistakes that I made prior to that was being over leveraged, not having enough liquidity on hand. And I learned the hard way when the market, the economy goes in cycles, and I'm in early 30s at the time, and I hadn't really gone through anything like that before, and so I didn't realize the importance of having enough liquidity stored someplace safe that you can get access to in case you're in a bind, to save a deal, to in the case of an emergency.
Yeah.
And so that would have really have helped me, although I wouldn't be where I am today, and have stumbled across, I feel, infinite banking as early as I did, had that not happened to me.
Yeah, and things happen for a reason, right?
Yeah.
And it maybe led you to it. So, because some of our audience might not know, explain to them what infinite banking is.
Man. So, and I've done this now for 11 years, and I've toyed with different ways of explaining it. So I'll try my best. Here's another shot at it.
Yep.
Infinite
All right.
banking is a way of managing cash flow, storing cash flow in a whole life insurance policy, dividend paying whole life insurance policy, that's maximized and designed to maximize cash.
If you're looking for consistent, high-quality leads, look no further than Investor Machine. Investor Machine isn't just another agency. It's the most sophisticated, data-driven lead generation company on the planet for real estate investors, and serves the role of being not just a lead generator for your business, but a marketing partner that is helping you achieve your goals along the way. Go to investormachine.com to learn more and schedule a call with our team today.
Right? But it's more than just the vehicle. I mean, life insurance, let's face it, life insurance, you hear it, you're falling asleep, you're walking the other direction. This isn't your daddy's, your granddaddy's life insurance type policy. This is using whole life, but it's structured in a very different way with certain riders to maximize the cash. And the reason why is because life insurance is treated with kid gloves by the IRS. Okay? So if we structure it in a certain way and we can maximize that cash and get those guaranteed returns, get the growth tax-free, tax-deferred, and access to the money tax-free, there's no better place. Everybody wants what life insurance can give them, but nobody wants life insurance. And that's what I always say. So
nobody wants the payment of life insurance.
Right. Nobody wants the payment. And see, that's you hit on a good point. Payment comes from a place of, expense. Right? A commitment, right? And don't get me wrong, there is a commitment here. However, there's a lot of flexibility that a lot of people don't realize. There's a lot of flexibility with that commitment, that payment. But at the end of the day, you have to look at it as a long-term play. You're paying yourself and you are building up your own bank, right? So,
okay.
Yeah.
So if I want to do something like that, I can just probably call up my insurance guy and then just get a quick policy, right?
Sure, yeah. Call up your Uncle Ned and see how that works out.
What are the specific things that someone needs to look into or need to be included to make a policy have the ability to do this?
Yeah, so it's a great question. And as you asked the question, and I'm just joking with you about the whole Uncle Ned thing, because people will try to go to their family member or friend who does life insurance thinking that they'll be able to get something created, when in actuality, it's 9 times out of 10, it's the very, very much the wrong move, and they don't find out till it's too late. Yeah. So first and foremost, you really need to seek out someone who is qualified, right? There's a couple ways to do that. So Nelson Nash is widely regarded as the father of this concept, this strategy. He passed away a few years ago, but he started I want to say it's Nelson Nash Infinite Banking Institute, right? Which certifies people to speak on this and to service and to be practitioners of this strategy. So I would look for that, and then look at their look at what they've done in their track record. Everything is online, so see if they've been specializing in this type of strategy in the past. But more importantly than that, in my mind, especially if you're a real estate investor, seek out someone who also knows how to apply this strategy to real estate. Okay? There's nothing worse than getting somebody who's an infinite banking guy or gal and they don't know the real estate investing world.
Right.
And so they won't know how to apply and utilize the most efficient and most powerful way, optimized way with real estate. And that's the piece there that I feel like I bring to the table, especially for landlords.
Okay. And you had mentioned targeting landlords. Why are you specifically targeting landlords?
I have a soft spot for landlords. One, because I was one for many years. I still am one, but right. But I feel like we live in we get a lot of in a lot of ways we get a lot of the society's ill will in many regards, right? Because of some bad apples, like any industry or like any career or whatever. But we serve a huge we do a huge service to the community in terms of housing, right? Providing housing for people. And so I feel like landlords, in a lot of ways, especially when working with the banks, are vulnerable. And they don't know. You don't know what you don't know. And
I was going to say, is it vulnerability more or is it uneducated about it?
Potentially a little bit of both, I think. I think that banks.
If you're a new or newer real estate investor looking to launch or grow your real estate investing business, please check out Investor Fuel Club. It's a coaching community, but unlike anything you've ever seen before. And you can actually partner with members of our mastermind from coast to coast on deals right in your market. There's no better opportunity to build a consistent business than to literally partner with pros to help you avoid costly mistakes, avoid the need for capital to do deals, and help you eliminate your fears as you're starting your business. Learn more about Investor Fuel Club at investorfuel.com/club.
And I don't say this lightly, but banks lie in some respects, right? Banks lie, and I talk about this a lot with landlords, and there's three lies that I often talk about when it comes to landlords. One of the biggest ones is that, first of all, your cash reserves are the safest. Your cash reserves should be sitting in a bank, and when nothing could be further from the truth, right? In what we lose.
Why is that?
Well, I mean, all you have to do is look at, first of all, what are banks paying us these days, right? For most banks, most big banks, it's less than 1%. And that comes at a cost, right? Because we want access to the money, because we want that money to be safe, that comes at a cost of what we're not earning inside the bank. Now, you might be out there and saying, I got a high yield savings account, right? I got 4% in this high yield savings. Well, what are all the terms that come along with that? And how long will that last, right?
Yeah.
And so these are some of the things we have to consider. So that's the first one, is that, banks may not be the best place to put your reserve capital, your cash flows. And really all you have to do is look no further than where banks are putting their cash flow. And see, this is where people get the aha once they realize that banks put a good portion of their reserve capital into life insurance contracts, investment grade insurance contracts. Okay. At last I looked up, Bank of America had $24 billion. More liquid capital in life insurance than in real estate holdings. Okay. So do what they do, not what they say, is what I say.
Yeah. I'm sorry. Were you say something?
No. I was done with that point. Yeah.
Okay. All right. I forgot kind of where I left off. So you're focusing on landlords, optimizing the cash flow. So how do I say it? If someone had their policy, do you have the ability to change adjust your policy, or do they have to go out and get a whole new one? Or how does someone go out and get something that they can, who specifically they look for to get a policy?
As I was saying earlier, you got to look for somebody who's first of all, who's a life insurance agent, but that's kind of the bare minimum.
Yeah.
You're looking for someone who, I would say your best bet is to try to find someone, and I'll say this, but also at the same time, I'm not as in this group, but someone who's qualified from the Nelson Nash Institute, right?
Okay.
If you're not working with someone like me, then you don't know where to go, I would say go there first. So just Google Nelson Nash Institute, and there's a rigorous program you have to go through in order to get qualified in the infinite banking strategy. And so I've just been doing this such a long time that I don't feel the need to go to get that. So I was a financial planner as well. Yeah.
Okay, very cool. Okay, so you're awesome. Now let's talk a little bit more and kind of focus on our theme here, which was building wealth outside of Wall Street.
Sure.
I know we talked about infinite banking. Kind of go, expand a little bit more on that.
Okay. Well, first and foremost, I would say that if oftentimes I get people who are seeking ways to build wealth, right? That's what we do. Well, wealth strategist is what my official title is. And 9 times out of 10, they're looking outside themselves, right? Where can I put my money? Where can I put it to work? How can I grow this money? And one of the first things I'll ask is, it just depends on what are you comfortable with? What do you understand? What have you studied? Let's start there. What are you passionate about? Let's start there. And if nothing else, let's reinvest that back into yourself to get to that level of understanding to where you can mitigate the risk based on your level of education. Okay. And so that's going to allow you to have higher returns outside of yourself. But the number one investment you could ever make, the number one investment is you. You are the highest valued asset by far. By far. The house that you have, the car that you have, the businesses that you own, the real estate that you have, it's all because of you. And with that becomes a need to protect that, right? And so I know we talk about the idea of, of these great policies and building this cash value, this equity inside the policies and the real estate. But at the end of the day, it really comes back to you and ensuring that your ability to create, your ability to go out there in the marketplace is protected. So that's why that death benefit also has an importance as well with that.
Okay.
I'm not sure if I answered your question.
But, no, you did. You did. Outside of infinite banking, is there any other type of techniques, methods, however, to build wealth outside of Wall Street that you teach or that you?
That's a very, very timely question, and it's one that I am just eager to answer. Although I don't think I'm going to do it the best justice in terms of my explanation of what it is. And so one of the strategies that I felt, first of all, let me just say, I thought I had arrived when it comes to real estate investing, seen it all, done it all, that sort of thing. A year ago, I was on reserve duty, and I was talking to a contractor next to me, and we both had an infinite banking policy, both real estate investors. He shared with me a concept, a strategy that he was using called slow flips. And he told me about it, and I said, okay, what is slow flips, right? I'm not into flipping, and I don't want to do rehabs, and nor do I want it to be slow. And so he passed me this book called The Art of the Slow Flip by Scott Jelinek. And I read it over a weekend. It just blew my mind. Essentially, the strategy is you're buying homes using short-term financing like a car, 5-year notes, and you're selling those homes on long-term financing like you would a mortgage. Okay. There's a lot more to it, but number one, there's no rehabs. You're not doing any rehabs. All this is essentially remote. You're buying properties at a $30,000, $40,000 price point, which you might be saying, well, I live in California or I live in New York. It's not possible. Well, guess what? There are a lot of areas of the country where it is possible, and these houses are very much livable, and they're not in the hood. So you can do it. You just have to get the right community and the right, comfort level with investing virtually. And yeah, this is a play where you are truly the bank, because you're buying these properties using private money, and you're paying that debt off over 5 years. So you're making the private money lender happy with a 12, which I give them 12%, right? Okay. With $30,000 loan, right? And then I'm selling that property at a higher price point because we're selling the financing over a 30-year loan. And so once that 5-year note is completely done, I get to reap the benefits of a free and clear property, getting all the cash flow for another 25 years, okay, on a cash for deed note, right? So I am truly the bank, the lender's the bank, and so it's a win-win-win for everyone.
Do you find it difficult finding private lenders that'll hold for 5 years, or do you have like a good database or a good connection for?
I have a pretty good database, and again, I'm at the beginning stages. Sure. I know a lot of people in the work with the work that I do, and so it's just a matter of reaching out to them and seeing if it's something that is of interest. A lot of folks have expressed an interest in getting into real estate, but not necessarily having the headaches of direct involvement like a landlord. And so I think what I can provide is very much going to be something that welcome discussion. So.
What are some of the pros or cons of doing that type of investing?
One of the biggest pros is the idea that you don't have to swing a hammer. You don't have to replace a toilet. You don't have to replace light. I mean, none of that. You're not dealing with, you're bringing in people who are wanting to own a home, but for one reason or another cannot do so the traditional way. Right. And so you're giving people a pathway to home ownership, and you're doing so yeah. And I like the long-term cash flow aspect of it. People who have a home ownership mentality, and not these, not tenants who are potentially, here one day, gone the next sort of thing. Right. One of the drawbacks I found is that in that first 5 years, you are really sucking it up, because There's very little cash flow because you're paying off your lender so aggressively. And so you know, typically you're breaking even, maybe there's a little cash flow there, but you know, you are buying your time for the first 5 years essentially to pay off that private money lender to have a free and clear property. So
Okay.
yeah.
So you're buying the property, you're finding the lender, then how are you finding your buyers for this?
How are you finding your buyers? That's a great question. One or two ways. You're either running an ad on Facebook Marketplace, and you're building up a list because believe it or not, you put out there $3,000-$4,000 down, X amount a month, no credit checks. You will get
everybody knocking down your door.
A flood of people, right? So that's a way to do it. And then also there are people out there who are in the community whose sole job in life is to fill homes like these for us. So it's really easy.
Okay.
Yeah, it's really easy to find someone for the home. And yeah.
Well, that's awesome. And it's a great way, like you said, you know, not having to swing the hammer, not having to deal with tenants, not having to deal, I mean, because you and I both know that it's not always the funnest thing to do in the world.
Right.
But that's such an awesome strategy. I mean, I think it's really easy for, you know, it would be really easy for anybody to get into it. What kind of advice or, you know, what kind of resources would you suggest if, let's say, someone listening to this is like, man, that sounds freaking cool. How do they get started?
There are a few communities out there, I think, for slow flips. I'm affiliated with the one. I know there's a couple others though. So just Google slow flips. I would say start with the book. I think Scott's book, and I may be wrong on this, but I think he is the actual creator of this idea. I think others who are out there potentially may be, you know, just using that same name and you know, teaching it as well, which is fine.
Right.
But yeah, I've gotten a lot of great knowledge and made some great networking connections from like anything, signing up for the course and making an investment. So
okay. Oh, so that guy had a course that you bought into as well.
Correct. Yeah. Yeah.
Nice. So our folks that are on here listening, if they want to get in touch with you, right? If they want to pick your brain on slow flipping, on infinite banking, you know, what's the best way for them to get in touch with you?
Yeah. So I am in the midst of setting up all the content, all the social media platforms for infinite banking for landlords.
Okay.
So I'm going to have to defer to my personal email, which I don't mind. It's just it's not as it's not where I want it to be quite yet in terms of getting that all set up. But you'll want to go to Eric Patterson, EricPatterson 78 at Gmail.
Perfect. And then I'll put that in the show notes. So anybody that's out there that's listening wants to get in touch, you'll have that in there. You know, Eric, thank you so much for coming on here, man. I mean, it's really been a very educational thing. I mean, I might have to call you after air and talk to you a little bit about this more, but I hope everybody that's listening really got, you know, some good notes, took some good, you know, picked up some good nuggets and really apply these. So, you know, Eric, thank you again for coming on the show today.
Welcome.
And hope everybody else enjoyed it. We'll see you on the next one.
All right.
Cheers.
Thank you.
Thanks for joining us for today's Real Estate Pros Show. You can learn more about the amazing benefits of the Investor Fuel Mastermind community, including surrounding yourself with hundreds of other rock stars, 100% financing for your deals, and members-only discounts from vendors you're likely already using that, as a member of Investor Fuel, will save you more than the cost of your membership. Visit investorfuel.com to learn more. If you're interested in joining us as a guest of this show, please visit investorfuel.com/pros to apply. You can also check the show notes for access to free resources, how to get access to world-class lead generation, and much more. Don't forget to subscribe so you never miss another episode. Have a great day. We'll see you on the next show.